And we switch to the Battle Creek economy right now, and joining us, fresh off a plane from Japan, Joe Sobieralski of Battle Creek Unlimited. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, Tim. It's a pleasure to be here.
Took a plane, right? You didn't swim.
No.
Yeah, that's a. How long is the flight from Japan back here?
Well, it's about 13 hours going, and it's about 11 and a half coming back.
Yeah, so it's a pretty good jaunt.
Yes.
What were you doing over there?
So every year we go on kind of a trade mission and a goodwill mission. This one was more of a trade mission. So goodwill, meet with all of our companies that have made investments here in Battle Creek. Make sure they understand what's going on in Battle Creek. Some of the things that we're working on to help them grow here in Battle Creek. So that was one part of it. This year we were a little more heavily focused on trade, attracting new companies. So I didn't personally meet. I still have Robert, our Vice President of Attraction, is still currently over there. But all said and done, we will have met with 18 companies of various sectors just to start the dialogue about Battle Creek and the possibilities of coming to Battle Creek.
How many Japanese firms currently do business here?
19.
That many? 19?
Absolutely. Yes.
Wow, that's pretty good, and there's room for more.
Yeah, they employ about half of the workforce population in the industrial park, those 19 companies.
Well, and I've said this many times, and so have a lot of other people. Where would we be right now without that development out there? Because you know, a lot of our manufacturing jobs left, and you know, the food industry is not what it once was.
Correct. And you know, it's kind of ironic. Of those 18 companies that we met with, a handful of those are food-related companies that are looking to enter the United States. So it's an exciting time, and we continue to push that attraction effort with Japan. And you know, we talk about doing these things. Well, while you're over there, you run into contingents from Indiana. Indiana has a lot of people over there right now doing the same thing. So it's a competitive world.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all competing for the same thing, and that's to grow our manufacturing base and jobs. Yeah, and we're sort of trying to, I would say, diversify here a little bit. I know when I was out to see your new building, and we'll talk about that in a second, there's some charging stations right outside the window of your office there, and that's no accident.
No, it's not. That's intentional. We're continuing to diversify, but also we're going for that next generation technology. You know, the announcement of Kellogg yesterday. The world continues to change, and every industry will continue to evolve. You have to be in the forefront to capture the next best thing within that industry.
Sure. Yeah. Now, you know, there have been some I don't want to say doom and gloom, but some people will look at it that way. You know, like 3 restaurant closings announced, and Sears is closing, and then today the news that Kellogg will be probably eliminating 30 jobs, and if they decide to sell off some of their other business, like cookies and stuff, it could be another 30 jobs. But as an economic developer, first of all, I imagine none of this is shocking to you, and it's just kind of how it comes.
Yeah, you know, the doom and gloomers out there, the world's continually changing. It's exponentially changing. You know, I'm glad you brought up the article about the restaurants. I take a little bit of exception to that headline. When you read a little bit deeper into there, there's one restaurant switching with the other. There's another restaurant that's closing to make way for future development. So,
and another one that will probably reopen in a while.
Absolutely, but let's not forget, you know, Lucky Rooster just opened, great restaurant downtown. We've got New Holland coming. We just closed on that facility a couple weeks ago. Restore 269's investing. We closed on that in earlier in October. So there are new things coming as well as old things, you know, coming off the books, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, and I was downtown last week. The workmen were out behind the future New Holland building, working away, chipping on the pavement, doing some work underground there. So it was good to see. And I believe our city commission will be taking up some business tonight that would allow them to, part of their business is distilling spirits.
Absolutely. So the reason for that needed to be in the ordinance to allow that. They kind of equate it to a R&D facility. So some of, they're going to have 3 facilities now. They might not make all of the same spirits at every location. It's just kind of a test batch that they'll test in Battle Creek. So small batch distilling.
Sure. And that's one thing that's kind of unique about New Holland. In fact, I think I was at Food Dance Cafe in Kalamazoo several months ago and got to try some of their whiskey, bourbon, I think it was. It was pretty good.
Yes.
And I prefer that sometimes. It depends on my mood. Sometimes I want to drink beer, and sometimes I'd rather have some bourbon.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be kind of nice. So I imagine that won't meet with much resistance. It's not like it's going to be a big deal. And plus, we just legalized marijuana in this state. By the way, speaking of that, I'm kind of all over the place this morning, Joe, but the marijuana thing, we've been trying to attract some marijuana business out to our industrial park and to the area. How does this affect that?
I think it's so when the city of Battle Creek opted in for medical marijuana, leading up to that, we saw a lot of activity. We saw a lot of individuals looking to acquire large facilities, and then that kind of petered off. Some of these folks discovered that buying a 150,000 square foot facility and growing medical marijuana, geez, that's pretty much a food production facility. So the amount of capital required to get that facility up to a standard to grow medical marijuana was going to be more than it would be just to build maybe a smaller brand new facility. So we started developing some plans to put in a dedicated area within the park to capture some of that business. But it all kind of went quiet, and we believe that it was all looming based on this recreational ballot initiative in November. So we fully expected to those conversations with developers to start ramping up again.
Yeah, and I guess pretty much everybody in Michigan now has an equal chance as we see how things are going to go. I mean, I don't really even have an idea how things are going to go. Are we going to have commercial growing operations here, or is it just going to be pretty much you can grow 12 plants at home?
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting how that all plays out. And commercial growing operations, they're going to be no different than our traditional manufacturers. Workforce is a huge issue. We've got a short supply. The labor participation rate is not where it needs to be. So it'll be real interesting how this plays an effect into the talent pipeline as well.
Talking with Joe Sobieralski from Battle Creek Unlimited this morning, and it was about 3 weeks ago you had the big unveil out there in the industrial park of the new facility. You got another weapon in the tool belt of Joe Sobieralski and folks out there at BCU. Very nice facility. Tell us, it's got a history too. It's kind of got a big history tie into it.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you, Tim, for coming. The Custom Cargoes facility out in Battle Creek, or out in the industrial park, has always been home to Battle Creek Unlimited. 150,000 square foot industrial facility with, about 20,000 square feet of office space that we rent out to tenants, and was also our home. It was hard to find. It was outdated. It hadn't had a refresh in 30 years. So we took the approach that we wanted to be very visible to the outside world. And we took a cross dock and we turned it into our new office space. So the garage doors came out, windows went in, and it's complete with several new offices, some good audio-visual equipment, a boardroom, and it's very visible from the road. So not only did we get a new office space, but we revamped the entire facility. And really, what's important about that, as you said, it's a tool in the toolbox. Economic development is very, very competitive, and we need to set ourselves apart from the competition. We know what we're doing, but we've got to display to the outside world that we know what we're doing as well. And frankly, image plays a big piece of that.
Absolutely, yeah. let's hope that maybe maybe down in Indiana they'll bring them into the back of some old feed and grain place.
That's right.
And dust off the table and. Whereas we've got this nice facility, and I wouldn't say it's the Taj Mahal. It just is a very functional, very bright, lots of windows. You look out the window, like I said before, and there are the electric charging stations for some cars, and a lot of glass in there, so everybody can kind of see everybody else and communicate easily.
And it was very intentionally designed. You talk about the charging stations and our energy storage initiative. But it also pays tribute to the past. I mean, Denso once occupied that very facility. So when you come in, you see the polished concrete. I mean, and we're putting up a timeline within the corridor. We can point to every milestone that Battle Creek Unlimited has accomplished for this community, and we can bring in new prospects too and say, hey, we want you up on that timeline as well. So it was very intentionally designed.
Yep, great history on the walls, going back to Mayor Bridges. Who kind of had the foresight, along with some others here in Battle Creek, to say, you know what, we're gonna get something going here on this old property. Federal government doesn't want all of it anymore. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
And we've expanded that recently too. We've got some properties ready to go.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have those forward-looking individuals at the time. I couldn't imagine where our community would be at without that foresight.
Absolutely. What's the status of the expansion out there in the, well, I want to say the south area of the industrial park?
Yeah, Bowers Aluminum is completing their facility. We've had other people look at the other two sites, and we've actually got we're toying around with the idea of partnering with a developer, maybe to put up a spec building. So those are in the works as well.
Absolutely, that's great. Yeah, you just mentioned in passing some of the downtown projects that BCU is helping out with, the two breweries. What's the status of the Carlisle Street project?
The Carlisle Street project is we've closed on the facility. The developers have ownership. They're waiting on they've got their senior lender in position, and they're waiting on another piece or two. And the brewery is committed, and we'll maybe be able to reveal that maybe January-ish. So it's not too far away.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that because we're all wondering who is the brewery going to be down there, and what's the final plan going to look like. So that's great. Heritage Tower, obviously, that's been a bit of an undertaking, and now we have had to close off the street there.
Yeah. It's short-term gain for long-term pain, or short-term pain for long-term gain. I think there was a lot of people that didn't think that was ever going to happen. Well, folks, it's happening. It's moving forward.
We're fortunate that the businesses down there have good access from the backside.
Absolutely.
So, don't stop going down there to those places.
No.
In fact, we've got a brand new coffee shop that just opened there, and you can't really get there from the front, but you can certainly get there from the back.
Yeah. And we're going to continue this. There's some other things in the works too. So 2019 could be very busy as far as construction goes downtown, which is progress.
We're sad to see Sears close, but we knew that was going to happen.
Yes.
That was going to be inevitable. I don't think there's a man, woman, or child in town that is surprised at that news, although it saddens us. Like you said, the restaurants, it's not really that big of a deal. One will reopen, the other property's going to move, and the other one, there's a development in the works.
Yeah, and I don't want to say it's not a big deal. I mean, we always hate to see businesses close, but that's a natural cycle. And the important thing is that we're working to move forward with new investments. If we weren't doing that, it'd be very alarming, and if there weren't new restaurants opening, it'd be very alarming as well. But those things are in the works, and they've been in the works.
Excellent. Well, Joe, thanks for stopping by and giving us an update. We look forward to hearing how Robert makes out the rest of the trip in Japan, and see if maybe we can add a couple more companies. You said there's 19, right? 19
in Battle Creek, and we visited 18 new ones while in Japan.
Wow, that's fabulous. Joe Sobieralski of Battle Creek Unlimited, our guest this morning on the Morning Show.